That's on page Yudal. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines from the top. Okay? So we learned. Bekesef, we said when a girl gets married, Bekesef, Beishamai says, Bedina. You have to use a dina. My time I had the Beishamai is like I explained to you, we understand Beis they took the minimum value. What's Beishamai demanding all the way up to a dina? I'm Rav Zera. So this is answer number one. Answer number one is, and it's simple. She can't isha makpedes alatzma because that's the nature of women. She is strict about herself. The aim is kadesh. She's not going without. That's the minimum value that she's willing to give herself for. It's an insult. Less than that, you're insulting me. You're insulting me. I'm not going to give it to you. She's not going to give herself over. Amalei Abayas. Abayas said, "1 second. If according to you, marriage is dependent on what the woman wants, so then according to what you're saying, then what, no matter what the stature or desires of a woman are, if she accepts something, she should always be married. There shouldn't be any number." He says, he says, El Miato, then according to what you're saying, for example, could go and Bansei to Rabbi Yanai. It's machlokes whether it's Rabbi Yanai or Yanai the king, but the daughters of Rabbi Yanai, who were the captain of Nashai, who were haul themselves very loftily, they wouldn't take less than a tarka of dinars, a ton of money, a fortune. They wouldn't marry for less than a fortune. Nevertheless, Hachinami here too, the Ipashta Yoda Bekibla Chad Zuzah, if she'll stick out her hand and take one zuz, one dinar, okay, so you're going to say what? You're going to say what? That you're going to tell me what? That it's not a kedushin? Okay, you're going to because according to you, why did Shammai say a dinar? Then a dinar. Why? Pardon me. You're going to tell me it's not a kedushin that you always go. According to you, you always go according to the stature of the woman that she can't get married for less. Amalei said no. He says Pashta Yoda Bekibla Look. I mean, I was never talking about that. If the woman takes it, that was you're right. My principle that I explained by Shammai was not based on what a woman does. If you can give a woman a penny, she accepts it. She accepts it. It's fine. She's getting married. As long as she agrees, she agrees. So then what's the case of Beis Shammai where they said not less than a dinar? Ki Kamina, when I was explaining Beis Shammai, the kid Shabalelia, for example, they got married at night. Not so dark that the witnesses can't see, but dark enough that she doesn't know what the amount she got was. So, for example, he gave over, and she doesn't know what she got. So now Beis Shammai says what? If it was less than a dinar, she's not married because the norm is that a woman will not marry for less than a dinar. Inami, alternatively, the Shavi Shaliach, she made a Shaliach. She said, "Go out, be my proxy to accept kiddushin from somebody." And the guy, they didn't name an amount, and the husband gave less than a dinar to the proxy, so she's not married. Okay. So that was answer number one. Answer number one is it's based on the norm of how much a woman values herself. Rabbi Yosef says reason number two. This is a second reason why did Beis Shammai demand so much money. Tamayu de Beis Shammai kid Rabbi Yehuda Rabasi. It was like this reason. Rabbi Yehuda Rabasi. He said the following. Rabasi says, "Kol kesef over Torah." Whenever the Torah uses the word kesef, talking about money, kesef tsuri. It means tsuri and kesef, but the main point is what? In tsuri, the kesef tsuri means that it's not adulterated. It's pure silver. A silver coin is all silver. The shel divrayim, but whenever the rabbis talked about money, and like our rabbis later, kesef medina, it's like kesef medina. Kesef medina was mixed with copper, and it's 7 parts copper, 1 part silver. So it was worth one. So the rabbinic money is worth the same coin is worth what 1/8 of the same coin of the Torah. That's all they. So now that's the rule now. But we didn't understand. So what's the point? So what's the point? And therefore, so when it said in the Torah, since by Kedushin, how do we know you get married with money from the Torah? Because it says ki kachon a man takes, and with the word take, we have a word bridge from taking the field of Ephron. Okay, and this here's the kesef. So we learned that you can use money. So the money is what? Silver. So since the money of the Torah is made out of silver, Beis Hillel's pruta is no good. Why? Because Torah money is not made out of copper. The Torah money has to be what? Has to be silver. And once it's silver, it's a machlok. There's 2 ways to learn that Rashi brings. One way is that a dinar really is the smallest denomination of Torah silver. Okay. The other way is you're right. Even though there is a small denomination called a ma. Okay. But once we took the minimum. We took essentially a minimum meaningful value. Okay. So that's the answer. So answer number two, we're going to digress for a moment, but answer number two is what? Since the Torah once was value was in pure silver, and there's no copper money in the Torah, so a pruta, even though it's a meaningful value, can't be the value to get married with. It has to be in terms of real silver and not in terms of copper. Okay, that was answer two. Now, get ready. We're going to digress for a moment. In answer number two, we want to examine this principle. Is it really true that whenever the Torah spoke about money, it's talking about pure silver? I'm going to show you. I'm going to keep challenging you and show you that in Torah law we use copper. I'm going to show you you're wrong. Let's take a look. Okay, what are the cases? We're going to look at the various cases where the Torah spoke about money. Goof. Well, let's get back to the principle. All the money that's mentioned in the Torah is suri money, pure silver. But the coins of the rabbis are what are 7 parts copper, 1 part silver. Someone says, is that really a rule? Come on, I'm going to challenge you and show you from various mishnayos that we learned that the Torah money contains, you're allowed to do Torah transactions with copper. Let's take a look. Bahari Taina, give an example. Let's just review. You know, the Torah tells me it's in the case of deposits, etc. When one man says to another, you owe me $20. He says, it's true, I owe you money, but I owe you 10, not 20. I owe you 10, not 20. So the answer is that even though there's no witnesses, the answer is that what? He has to swear that he only owes, that he's allowed to pay him the 10, but he has to swear that he only owes him the 10 and not the 20. That's called modeh b'miktas hataina. A person admits the part of the taina. So now I'm going to show you, because of a Mishnah discussing this law, what's the minimum amount, what's the minimum amount of the claim and of the admission. Okay? Now there's an argument what it means. Either minimum amount of the claim means what the creditor claims, or it means to say how much of the claim does the person deny and how much does he admit to. So for example, let's say it could be that we're saying, for example, the minimum amount of the claim has to be 10, and the amount he has to admit to is, let's say, 1 penny, let's say, or 1 pruta, okay? And the claim can either mean how much he denied 10 and admitted to 1, or 10 was claimed and he admitted to 1. But either way, the main point is like this. The admission comes out to be what? 1 copper pruta. So you're going to see in Torah law, we discuss in terms of copper, okay? We discuss in terms of, we discuss in terms of, I didn't say right. We discuss in terms of more than 1 unit of silver. I'm sorry. Let's take a look inside. Bahari Taina, let's take a look. In the rule of partial admission, the see where it's written, when a man will give to his friend money or utensils to guard, etc., and they argue about what's owed back, and they come in front of the judges, okay, and when he says, and when the guy says, look, this is all I owe, and he has to swear and pay the half, Utanan, we learn this oath that the Dayanim administer when a guy missed the part, Taina shtei kesef, the claim, namely either what the creditor claims or what the denier, the amount of the denier is 2 maws of silver. The hodah and the admission shava pruta has to be the value of 1 pruta. So you see that even though the Torah's language is kesef, we still called it what? We called it 2 maws. So you see that it's not true that the Torah law that everything in the Torah is according to the silver coins. We don't. We make our own evaluation. So Gemara says here, okay, but that's a special case. The rule really applies. Usually every valuation of the Torah is silver money. But over there, over there, the rabbis understood from the way that it was written, since the Torah compared the partial admission to the laws of utensils, when a person gave his friend a deposit of money or of utensils in the plural, mak kelim shnayim, just like utensils were plural, av kesef shnayim. Also what? Also the silver was 2. Okay? So that's already the answer. The answer is what? That even though it said kesef, we know that it means 2. So it's not a challenge to the rule. We're really following the normal rule of the Torah. Or the normal rule doesn't apply here. And also from the second side, once you had to have 2 kesefs, which is something a value of kelim davar chashuv, also utensils have to be valuable. And therefore, for example, let's say the creditor claimed 2 needles, and the guy admitted to 1 needle. He doesn't swear. Why? Because 2 needles is not worth 2 maws. You understand? So even by utensils, the utensils have to have a minimum value. But 2 needles, which don't have a value of 2 maws, even though he admitted to 1 needle, he won't swear. Good. Okay, another, but we're still going to challenge this principle. Is it really true that the money of the Torah is silver? Bahari Meiser. What about Meiser Sheni? You know, Meiser Sheni. Each year we give truma to the Kohen, Meiser Rishon 1/10 to the Levi, and in years 1, 2, and 5 and 6 of the Shemitah year, we give of the Shemitah we give Meiser Sheni, and year 3 and 6 we substitute for Meiser to the poor. So what's Meiser Sheni? You take a second tithe and you take that produce up to Yerushalayim and you eat it in Yerushalayim. What if it's too much? It's too heavy. You don't want to schlep it up to Yerushalayim. So you're allowed to redeem it on coins, and you take the coins up to Yerushalayim and you buy food with it. So now we learn by Meiser. So Meiser and by Meiser Sheni at the Chiv it's written. Betzarta kesef b'yodcha. The Torah clearly says the word kesef. So now it has to be silver. But look what we learned. Utanan, look what we learned. We learned Haparit Selami most Meiser Sheni. If a person wants to, he wants to now change. He kept redeeming his Meiser Sheni on copper coins, on prutas, and now he has so many of them. He wants to exchange them for a seller in silver. Okay, and because he don't want to schlep all that copper coins. Okay, so we had an argument, the Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, about how he makes the exchange. But that doesn't matter. What's the point? Up until then, what was he redeeming it on? Copper. So you see that even though the Torah said kesef, you told me it has to always be silver. You see, it's not true. We're allowed to redeem it on copper, even though the Torah said kesef. Goy says, but that's also an exception to the rule. Why? Because since when it said you should bind the money to your hands, it didn't say bind kesef, money, but ha kesef, the money. Reba, that itself was an amplification. And here, even though the rule is the kesef means only silver, but ha kesef comes to include in this case that the redemption can be even on copper. Okay. Again, I still want to fight this rule. Hagdesh. What about when you redeem temple property? It's not really a pasuk. There's no pasuk that really says this, but it's a combination. Okay, he's going to give the silver and he's going to go up. But the point is what that you redeem for silver. Ramar Shmuel and Shmuel said Hagdesh shava mana shechila shava puta mechula. If Hagdesh that was worth even 100. But the person, instead of doing 100, the person redeemed it even on what was worth only a pruta. It's considered good, and it's not considered, for example, cheating of more than a 6, and you have to, and it's canceled. Okay, but the main point is what you see clearly that you're redeeming temple property on what? On copper. Says Hasamnami. That's also an exception to the rule. Kesef Yolif. Why? Because since it said there Kesef, and we had Kesef by Meiser Sheni. Just like by Meiser Sheni, we learned you can use copper. Also, by redeeming temple property, we can use copper. Okay, Kesef Yolif min Meiser Sheni. When the word bridge of Kesef, I can learn from Meiser Sheni. Okay, one more chance. Meiser says, come on. Every case is an exception over here. All right, Kedusha Isha. What about getting married to a woman? I'm going to show you now an interesting problem. You tell me Kesef always means what? Silver? Well, what are you going to do with our Mishnah? What did Beis Hillel say? A pruta. Beis Hillel talked about copper. Okay, by Kedusha Isha, the Tiv, where by marrying a woman it says Ki yikach ish isha uvala, man will take a wife and live with her. V'gamar kicha mistei abron, and we learn that. How do we learn that you can use money to marry a woman? But from a word bridge of kicha, taking from when Avram bought the field from Ephron, utanan, which should be silver because it was silver by the field of Ephron. He says take the kesef. Okay, Utanan, and we learned in our Mishnah, Beis Hillel says Beputa or Shavar Puta. Beis Hillel says a penny, a copper puta, or the equivalent. Name Ravasi Domer Beis Shammai. So now Ravasi's big rule is according to Beis Shammai, he goes, we don't go against Beis Hillel. Ravasi's big mega rule for the Torah that everything is silver and he's against Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel clearly says you can get married with a copper penny. What are you doing? Ella, okay, so now we have to change. We have to say, you know what? We misunderstood Ravasi, but our answer is still correct. Rav Yosef's answer that Beis Shammai needs silver because the Torah is always silver, and this is the meaningful amount of silver. It works, but you have to understand the principle differently. Ella, itmar, if you can understand Ravasi, this is the way it has to be understood. Ravasi, Ravasi, he said, Kol kesef kotzu amar b'Torah. Anytime the Torah mentions silver with a number, 50 silver, 100 silver, anytime it mentions silver with a number, 50 pieces of silver, 100 pieces of silver, then okay, kesef, then it's pure silver.
What does katsuf mean?
A set number, a set amount, a limited amount. So here it's at 50, it's at 100, katsuf, a set amount. Okay, yeah, okay. V'shel divrayim. Okay, but when the rabbis made a set amount of silver, b'kesef medina, then it's talking about what? It's talking about coins that include copper in them. Silver adult, so one part silver, seven parts copper. Umay kamash malan. So the Gemara said, 1 second. If that was, let me explain now. So according to that, what's the real answer now? We're saying that you're right. What he said was explaining Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai holds that what? That you have to understand part. You have to just like this. Beis Shammai holds that all money in the Torah is only silver, and if we have to take the first meaningful silver, which is the dinar. Beis Hillel holds the other way. He said no, only when it's a set amount of money does have to be silver. But Kedushin, which was no set amount, it just said money, not the set amount. So therefore, what? So therefore, even a pruta is good enough. So the boy says, I have one problem though. Let me just one more thing, mopping up this last point. Okay, and that is, but he says, by Kamashmalan, if Ravasi is talking about where it's a set amount, he's not telling me everything. Everybody knows this because we know we already know it. Tanina, we learned it. The following, it's also a Mishnah. For example, Chamesh Shloim, the 5 sellas of Ben, Shel Ben. The 5 sellas you have to do to redeem a boy, a firstborn from the Kohen. Shloshim Shel Ebed, the 30 shekels of the Torah of that was gored by somebody's ox, he has to pay for damages. Chamishim Shel Ones V'Shel Mafata, the fine for raping or seducing a young virgin. That fine of 50. Meah Shel Motzi Shemra, or the 100 shekel fine for claiming that the daughter was not a virgin when she was. Kulam b'shekel hakodesh, they are all in the Torah shekel, the holy shekel, which is what the manatsuri, which make up 25 of them, which make up the manatsuri. So everybody knows that the set amounts were silver. So what did he add? The answer is what? Don't worry. The answer that you're right. That wasn't the chiddush. It was the end of his statement that was really the novel point. At the end of what he said was the novel point, that in rabbinic money, it's talking about money that is mixed in with copper. It's the richale. That was his chiddush. The lo tanan, because there's no such Mishnah anywhere. There's no Mishnah that teaches me what kind of money the rabbis were talking about. The Tanya, for example, we learn if a person either a person hit his friend in the ear and damaged him, or he made a loud noise into his ear and damaged him. Nosin lasela. He has to pay him 1 sela for embarrassing him. Remember, for damages you have to pay embarrassment. So you shouldn't think that the sela is really what it's for zuz, which would be really what it's a sela of the Torah of pure silver. The sela is an adulterated sela, which is only one half of the Torah zuz. So it's 1/8. It's 1/2 instead of 4. It's 1/2, which is 1/8 of a Torah zuz. Okay, Davidi dinch the karla pago zuza istra. People call 1/2 zuz an istra, which is the sela. So therefore, his real chiddush was to tell me the rabbinic law. Okay, now end of that digression. So now the question was, why did Beis Shammai want so much money? Answer 1 was because women hold themselves valuable, and in a case where it's not specified, we assume that they won't marry for less than a dinar. That's 1. Answer 2, because Beis Shammai holds that anything that says in the Torah is kesef has to be true Torah silver, and the smallest meaningful value is really going to be what? Is going to be a dinar. That's answer 2. Now we're going to get 2 more answers of why Beis Shammai wanted so much money. Everything else was, so to speak, was a side issue. Now, answer 3. Why did Beis Shammai, another proposal, why did Beis Shammai demand so much money? So the answer is what? Rabbi Shimon and Lakish Omer, Tamayid Beis Shammai, the reasoning of Beis Shammai, it's like Chizkiah. Amar Chizkiah, because Chizkiah said, Amar Kor, the Pasuk says, Behefta, let's say there's a Jewish girl. She sold for 6 years. So she could at any time the owner is considered a good guy for being bought out at the price per year. Now, why is it a nice guy, by the way? Because you realize that, remember, the girl's young when she gets sold. Every year that she gets older, she's worth more. And yet, let's say if he paid $6 for 6 years, after 4 years he lets you buy her back for he lets her redeem herself for $2. He is a nice guy. Why? Because the last 2 years are worth more than $1. If you paid $6 for 6 years, the years are not really worth $1 a year. Why? Because each new year is worth. I don't know how to make the arithmetic, but each new year is worth a little more. So the last 2 years is not $2. It's really going to be $2.50, $3. I'm just teasing, whatever it is. You understand? Whatever, just a number. So it's considered a nice thing. But the point is like this. The point is we know that you can redeem the girl by discounting the year's work from the years left. Okay? Okay, as he said, we have to redeem her. So what happened? So she discounts the years that she worked from the redemption, and she goes out by paying the remaining years. So now, what did the owner originally pay for? Let's say he paid, remember, because we said you buy with money. So let's say he paid a dinar. That's what you said. That's the minimal amount, right, of silver. So obviously, depending on how much she worked, how much was paid, she could go down, and there's always a minimal amount left to pay, which would be one pruta. It's impossible that the 6 years are going to make the remaining time worth less than a penny. Okay, make it worth less than a penny. Just to give you an example, yeah, let me just give you an example. Let's say a dinar has 192 prutas. Okay, remember I told you that 192 prutas. A pruta is the minimal value of anything. So if she's got being bought for 6 years at 192 prutas, her value is her work is every 2 weeks is a pruta. For 192 prutas, every 2 weeks is a pruta. So here, so therefore, if she gets, as long as she's not down to the last 2 weeks, you can always redeem her for what? A pruta. So it's almost impossible to not be able to redeem her. If you're telling me that the minimal prices in the Torah are not according to silver, but according to copper, how much could you buy her for? One pruta. Well, then after the shortest time, she's unredeemable. Why? Because there's no value to the redemption. Okay, so therefore we proved. Okay, so therefore we proved that and since we learn marriage, we're going to learn the amounts of marriage from the amount of buying a Hebrew slave. So therefore we know that it can't be less than a dinar. That's the answer. I says the Gemara. That's the answer number 3. I Dilma Achi Kam Rachmana. 1 second. Maybe the Torah really said this. Dinar. If the owner bought her for 1 dinar, 192 putas tigra puta, then she could discount all the way down to one copper, the value of 1 copper penny. But if he bought her for a puta, no tigra call. You're right. If he bought her for a puta, it's not going to work. And the Gemara said, no, it's not true. Why? Because you can never buy somebody that can't be redeemed. Why? Because it says what? Because we see that with the laws of redemption of a Hebrew slave, of a maidservant, and remember the master who takes a Hebrew slave has a special mitzvah really to marry her, to designate her to him for marriage. So we learn the laws of redemption of a Hebrew slave girl from the laws of marriage of a Hebrew slave girl. Do me the you that what you can't think that way. It has to be like you. My you to afagav to ibai miyayin, ibai lemiyayin. Just like it comes to marriage of the slave girl. If he wants, he can. If he doesn't want, he doesn't. But it has to be there as the option. But if there's no option to marry her, then he can't buy her. So what's an example? Let's say a guy wants to buy the daughter, I don't know, his sister. Let's say, for argument's sake. He wants to buy his sister from his father. Let's say he can't. Why? Because since he can't marry her, he can't buy her. Any buying of a slave girl that can't lead to marriage can't be bought. So the same way that if you can't marry her, you can't buy her. Since the laws of marriage of a slave girl and the laws of redemption are put together, if you can't redeem her, you also can't buy her. So you just propose to me, oh no, when he gives a penny, so you just don't redeem her. That's all. No, it says if you can't redeem her, you can't buy her. If she's not eligible for redemption, you can't buy her. So therefore, Beis Shammai knows that the only way that it's going to work is if you bought her for a dinar, and once you have to buy her for a dinar, you have to marry a girl for a dinar. And marrying a woman, okay, according to Beis Shammai, we learn from the Hebrew slave. Just like a Hebrew slave can't be bought for less than a pruta. Also, what a Jewish woman can't be married for less than a pruta. I the dinar. Okay, but 1 second. Why'd you say a whole dinar? You don't need a whole dinar. You need enough that she can be discounted. Maybe half dinar. The aim up, so even say 2 pennies. Say 2 pennies. You buy her for a penny. You buy her for 2 pennies, and she can go down to 1. The answer is what? Came da fikte mi pruta. The answer is you're right. But once Beis Shammai said you can't buy her with a pruta, ukma dinar, they went to the next meaningful value, which is really what? The first meaningful value, which was the whole dinar. So that was answer number 3. Answer number 3 is they learned from Amrei Vri you can't do it less than a dinar. We'll get one more and we're done. The answer number 4, there's the last answer. Rav Amar, he says, here's the answer. Beis Shammai. This is the reason of Beis Shammai. It was a rabbinic decree. Jewish girls should not be bandied about as if they were valueless. We have to give it. The rabbis demanded a minimum value, and you can't buy them for less. It's not respectful. It's not respectful to marry a woman with less than a dinar. Not bad. Not bad. I wish everybody a wonderful Yom Tov, and I hope I'll see you after Sukkot. It should be. I want to say also we want to mention before Mordechai ben Maya. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Shkot everybody. I'm going to Jersey and then South Africa. I have a program in South Africa for 6 weeks. I haven't gone there for years.
Have a good trip.
Thank you, and I'll see you guys. God bless you.
Who's the sponsor that coordinated that program in South Africa?
That's a bunch. I have such a long history there, so several different shuls, etc. I've been going there for
South Africa.
Johannesburg. Huh?
Johannesburg?
Yeah. You know, there. I don't know if you know that South Africa. They're really unique. It's a uniquely wonderful community. They're really very dedicated. My first encounter, I'll tell you, the first time I ever was there shortly after the apartheid was over. So when the new situation happened, a lot of elderly Jews found themselves in a very dangerous situation. They didn't have money, and they were in neighborhoods where was really, really unsafe. They were all suddenly stranded. And the week that I first visited South Africa, the Jewish community went out and they bought a hotel, and they took the elderly people from those neighborhoods and put them in the hotel to live. That was my first encounter with South Africa. A very responsible community, really beautiful people. That's incredible. And what's interesting? I mentioned, South Africa, about it's already 40 years maybe. South Africa was for years. Most of the Jews, they were traditional. When I say traditional, they came to shul, but for example, but they weren't observant necessarily. In fact, they used to tell stories of the guys would come to shul on Shabbos morning with pocket protector full of their pens. They come to shul Shabbos morning and then go to the office. They come to shul and then go to the office. But about 30, 40 years ago, there was a massive turnaround, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Jews became observant. And when they talked about it, there were 2 communities in South Africa. The original community was German Jews, but afterwards they were overwhelmed by the influx of Jews from Lithuania. In Lithuania, at the turn of the century, the Jews were starving to death. Literally starving, with handfuls of people made families based on how many handfuls of food that they had. And for example, my chavrusa, his father came to Cape Town at 9. I'm not speaking English by himself to get work to support his family in Lithuania. And he was starving to death. And he said every day that he ate, when the second that he finally, he said, at least today I'm not going to die from hunger.